Okay, welcome everyone. It is Arthur Bablis here. Congratulations for being here today. We're back on again. It's Monday and I'm excited because we're back with our interview series. We've been away, not away for the last couple of weeks, but we've been in a huge training schedule. We had an NLP Master Practitioner course, a complete immersion, 15 days, the last couple of weeks, and obviously we had to recover from that. So our interview series was not on, but today we're coming back with a bang. I've got a very special guest I want to introduce to you. And so I just want to make sure that, let's see who's here. If you're watching live, let us know you're watching live, because you definitely want to be listening to this woman. She's hiding behind the scenes. I want to introduce her in a second. So let's see who's watching live. Let us know if you're watching live, hashtag live or hashtag replay if you get the replay. And let us know where you're from, because obviously we've put this series together. You know, myself, you know me, I've been in this field in complementary medicine, personal growth and human performance for the last 25, 30 years, 3 decades in this field, and we've seen the industry change, we've seen the ups and downs. I mean, I've had the ups and downs myself too. And you know, what really for me has enriched the journey is the people that I've met. The people that I've met along the way, the contacts that you've made, the colleagues that you meet, the people that you work together. And it really makes you humble to know that, you know, you're not in this by yourself. We're here together as a global team to be able to make a difference, to create a positive ripple effect of quantum change, of positive change around the planet. And we do that with all these wonderful modalities that we've learnt, that we share our own individual craft. And so we've put together this interview series because we wanted to bring to you, you know, and share with you all these wonderful people that I've come across. Julie Thompson's here. Julie, great to have you here. And maybe, you know, we can learn from each other. And if as you're listening to what we're having a chat about today, I was having a chat with our speaker, and we said, we'll just have a coffee, right? We'll just have a conversation over coffee. If you like anything you hear and you want to connect with our speaker, do that. And that's what it's about sharing the love, sharing the knowledge, and sharing the mission of making a difference. So let me get straight into our introduction. I'm going to introduce a very special lady. She's a holistic health and wellness coach. Now, she's been in corporate world for 20 years. So she comes from that experience. And, you know, corporate Australia, and I know that because I've been in corporate Australia too for, you know, a couple of decades. And when you're in that, I mean, you get caught up with the stress, you get caught up with, you know, the A type of personality. You need to meet KPIs and meet certain criteria and achieve certain outcomes, and sometimes at the expense of your health. And so from her experience, she found a calling that, you know what, she wants to make a difference in this area. She wants to make a difference to the women, empower women who are working, juggling a corporate role and probably a life at home and a family at home, and to be able to express themselves and be healthy and share their vibrant spirit. And so I've met this lady for the last, well, probably 4 months now. It's 4 months since I've met her. I'm part of a mastermind group that I've joined, and I was blessed to meet her there. And I have to say that one thing that you'll find out about Kate always shows up. Every time there's a training, a business call, someone needs help, she is always there. It just amazes me that she's willing to put her hand up and she encourages everyone. She is, you know, your top fan. And so, and for me, that's a sign of a person, right? When you go out of the way to actually celebrate someone else, when you go out of the way to actually to be someone else's fan, you know, you become the wind underneath the wings. So I want to say thank you so much for that experience, Kate, because it's really great to have you here today. And so let's bring her on, everyone. Kate Kendall, come on down, Kate. Let's put on a twin gallery so we can have a. Hey, Kate, how you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you. Wow. I was like, I hope he stops talking because I might start crying. Wish there's nothing wrong with that.
It's true, right? Like, it's only 4 months. It's only 4 or 5 months since we've known each other, right?
Yeah.
And you know, every time we get onto a Zoom call, a business coaching call, or whatever the case is, or even coming up to Brisbane and seeing you at the conference, all that type of stuff, you know, you're always the first to actually comment. You're always the first to cheer someone on. You're always the first to give a positive feedback, and that's rare. And so you really celebrate others. So really excited to have you here because I want to be able to celebrate you. You know, you did some wonderful work. You know, you, as I said, you've been in this field or in the corporate for 20 years, but also been in this field of health and wellness coach for a number of years, and making your mark with your own signature, your sign of nature, to be able to make a difference and empower women. So over to you. Tell us the Kate Kendall story.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm honoured to have met you as well. Like, and it has been a short time, and I've been in one of your courses too, which I was very grateful to be around and learn off you and be around your community. So thank you very much. So my business is Impact Your Life. And
Sorry, I just put you on speaker view so everyone can see all of you. So go ahead.
So my company is called Impact Your Life, which that's what I love to do, is help to impact people's lives, to be able to be I used to say the best version of themselves, but I think it's really coming, I've learned over the years, it's about really coming home to who you truly are, right? And that's what I like, helping women and men to be able to, I work more with women at the moment, but to be able to come home to their authentic true self and how they want to show up in the world, and, especially in business and corporate worlds and all that kind of stuff, where in the masculine all the time, trying to be, follow these programs or be a certain way and do certain things. So I'm really trying to empower women to be able to come back to themselves and still be successful in whatever they do in their life, and connect, come home, minimize their stress, minimize, understand their emotions more, so that they can actually, because we push our emotions away, men and women, we all seem to push our emotions away if you don't understand them. So I help women to understand their emotions and love all of them, and how that impacts their health, their wellness, their business, their career, and be able to get more of that balance, that holistic approach to health and wellness, really.
Awesome. Look, I love what you just said there, right? Because you said that you want to be able to help women to be okay with who they are, to be okay with themselves. And there's something else that really amazed me about you. I want to share it now, right? Because I was just recently up in Brisbane, right? We got together and we went out. We had a bit of salsa dancing, and there was a few of us there. And we were just chatting. And, you mentioned that you've been on your own now for the last 9 or 10 years.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow. That you spent, like, you've been out with people, you've had your relationships, but you've been on your own for the last 9 or 10 years. I thought, wow, that's a long time for someone to be able to do the work, to really get to understand themselves. And I think because of that, that's why you just come across so grounded, so come across that you know what it is that you want, you know who it is that you are, and when you show up, people just get your authentic self, 100% you. There's no smoke and mirrors. It's just Kate Kendall, because it's and unless you do the work, and you know this, right? This is the industry that we're in. Unless you do the work, I think it's just all talk. People talk the spiritual journey. People do spiritual talk. They're not spiritual walkers, right? And so unless you go on this journey, and that's what life is. We always faced with obstacles, and obstacles aren't in the way. They're not. Yeah, they're on the way, right? They're never in the way. They're on the way. And you've done that, and that was, when you said that, I thought, wow, that's the difference, right? That's what makes you who you are.
Yeah, and I have learned so much about myself on that journey, because I have been on my own, and I have, I used to be someone, and people kind of, laugh when, I used to be such a social person. I would fill the gaps with, being social, and I organized everything, and I was always around people. And then there was a situation in my life that actually had me kind of change and kind of had me kind of go internalize a little bit. And that was something I really probably needed, because I needed to go on that exploration of who I, truly was. And then I just went on that journey of understanding my emotions, understanding how I was treating my body. I did every diet under the sun, because I was never happy with who I was and how I saw myself. And that's why my slogan is love who you see in the mirror, without, I say restrictive dieting, because we have time frames on certain things, opposed to, like in business, going on that journey of, sustainability and getting such a balance. And, I think, I've done the work. I've done these, you can show up in coaching calls, or you can go to groups or do programs and all that kind of stuff. But it's not that one, or you can go to a PT session or whatever. It's not just that one session that you have with them. It's, as you know, like, it's what you do outside of that in real life. You can go to a retreat and feel absolutely amazing and come away from that retreat and then come back into real life. And it's like, oh, how do I put this into real life? Until you actually implement these things and strategies that I teach into, everyday life, that's when you really learn about yourself. You observe what your thoughts are, observe what, how you're thinking, observe your emotions without any judgment. And then you can change. Then you can look at, how are they serving me, or how are they not serving me, or how can I actually, we hold on so tightly to these emotions, which we think are negative emotions, but they're actually, I had no relationship with anger. I was just like pushing anger away because I wasn't comfortable with anger. And that wasn't healthy for me. Like, I had to learn to, because, I won't go into the, the past story, but around my, people that I was around anger, that had me scared as a young child. And so how did I respond to that? I would just go internalize. So I learned to, what was anger, and anger is just an energy and emotion in our body that needs flushing through. So I learned how to manage those emotions in a healthy manner, and all of our emotions are beautiful, and you've been able to understand that and how that was actually affecting my choices. I was drinking a lot back in the corporate world. I was a highly stressed job. I was KPI driven. It was, even though I'd go and train, I'd be then drinking and binging on the weekends, socializing, and that wasn't healthy for my body, mentally and physically. So we celebrate with drinking, and we celebrate with eating, and all those kind of things. So it's just that vicious cycle for people, and how women treat themselves, how they look at themselves. And that was me, doing that for such a long time. So
tell me, what was the turning point? And it's not about getting into the story, but then, and the story doesn't define us. The story reveals who we really are.
Yeah.
Really, it's not, the environment doesn't define you. The environment reveals who you are. And because all of us go on this journey, and we reach a point, like we call it the moment of truth, or a moment of perturbation, a moment where, a decision has to be made. We can either, it's like when in chaos, and in chaos theory, at this point, either a whole new order is going to be created, like you make a decision, you draw the line, a demarcation point, and change, or you just decide to wither away.
Yeah.
So what was the moment of truth for you? Not that we need to know the story, but what was going through your head? What was that point where you said, no more?
Mm-hmm.
Because sharing our stories, what we think is most personal to us, actually is most general to everyone else. And so people, as you know, learn and heal from our stories. So if anyone's listening here and can relate to Kate, just let her know as well too, because I'm reading these messages, and just to let you know, we got Nadine here, we got Julie here, we got Crystal here, we got, everyone's here, and they're sending you love it, and they're saying love it, and all this type of stuff, Kate. And so if you've got any questions or anything you want to relate to, post it here and I'll read it out for Kate. But let's get back, this turning point.
Yeah.
This moment of truth for you.
The turning point was when I was in a relationship, actually. I was still in the corporate world, and I was very successful. I was in the recruitment, and I was looking after big accounts. I was managing teams, and I just wasn't loving going to work anymore. And I was, feeling really, really lost, but just kind of around that similar kind of time when I was feeling uneasy and not, I felt like I was here for more. And just, I don't know, I never kind of listened to my gut, and something just didn't, kind of feel right. And then my ex left unexpectedly, came home from work and disappeared pretty much. He said, I don't want to be here anymore. And I'm like there was no signs leading up to it, and it was very shocking for myself and people around. I thought, did I have my head in the ground and not see anything coming? But it was, anyway. So that was really a huge turning point for me, when it was like my world kind of rug was pulled from underneath me. And then that's kind of where I went on the self-discovery, and I started, I kind of studied. I wanted to learn more about myself. I was already into my fitness at that point, but I went and did my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness, just to kind of, stimulate my mind a little bit as I was going through, through that journey. And that's where I kind of went on. I was like, took the leap of faith. I ended up, my life, I knew this obstacle and path, even though I was hurting really, I was just going on with life, and I just felt so exhausted and not myself. Like it was like, something had been pulled out of me, but I was still going to work. I was still training. I was still doing these things, but then I'd drink on the weekends and, binge and all that kind of stuff. So, but then when that kind of, I just came to a point when I started studying and like this, I can't keep doing this. And that's when I just started my, I left my job. I ended up, once I finished my studies, I left my job and just took a leap of faith. I'm like, I'm here for more than this.
So how long was
And
that? Was that 10 years ago? Is that the 10 years ago you're talking about? Or?
around the 10 years when my ex left. Yeah. So that all kind of when I started my journey. And then then I started my PT business, and it had a very successful PT business, and doing outdoor boot camps and all that kind of stuff. And I bought a business, which I thought was just, I was so excited to buy into this business. And then things didn't go to plan with that. I lost a lot of money, and I took on, more than I could really chew, I guess, and being a little bit inexperienced, and I trusted in some coaches and businesses to help me with, the marketing and things that I was doing. So I kept investing in the business, and unfortunately, things fell apart after that. And so I went through another stage of, what felt like failure. So they're the kind of two major, like I was almost bankrupt. So there was those two kind of key factors in my life that really defined, really shaped me to really dig deep, because I felt like a failure. I lost, my love, so I thought, and also a business I invested a lot of money in, and I lost half the business overnight due to some decisions that I had made. So I lost a lot of trust in myself.
That's huge, because everyone has a story, right? Everyone pinpoints a specific point where you can either take it two ways. And so people hear that story, and a lot of people say, well, that could be the reason why life sucks right now and I haven't got anywhere in my life. Or that could be the reason why I am where I am in my life, and I use it as fuel to change. So it's the meaning that we give to things that makes the difference. And I suppose the work that you did. So tell us about the work, because once you start learning, you did your PT, and once you start learning in this field, I find you become the perennial student, right? You just learn and learn and learn and learn.
Yeah.
And I've seen that over the last 25 years, and I say to everyone in joking, why people keep on coming back to do more and more and more. Not only that, because that's the reason, that's the only way to grow, but you learn about your most favourite subject, which is yourself, right? You keep learning all about you. So tell us, what are the things that you did? So how did you reinvent yourself?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. I am a learner. Like, I love learning. I love growing and expanding on, and funnily enough, I didn't like school. Like, I loved school, but I wasn't very, that style of learning wasn't my style. But when it's something you really love, and you can learn in different ways, it really is, makes learning a lot easier, right? So, I did the PT, and I could see in clients and even in myself, like the dieting mindset, and I'd do all the, the quick fixes and the restrictions. I'd get there, and then I'd, feel like I failed again. So I was like, okay, I can see this is happening for me, and I could see cycling. So I then started getting more into, understanding the mind. And so and breath work actually was one of the earlier, probably 7 years ago, that I fell into core clearing breath work, which was just mind blowing for me to understand, the emotions more, in a healthy manner, and being able to heal from the past experiences that I'd had that I hadn't actually, I thought I'd, had kind of forgiven myself for. And a lot of the time we forgive other people for situations, but I hadn't forgiven myself with a lot of situations that had occurred in the past. So that process of the breath work, core clearing, was a beautiful way for me to, go deeper with that, and forgive myself for decisions that I had made. And so that I did that. And I really went to retreats. I went to, different mini courses, like I did a mini NLP course. That was probably where I started loving that side of things. I did that back probably breath work than I did the 6 years ago or so. I did the NLP stuff, and just had a real taste, kind of taster of it. And then I've just, then I did my life coaching certification, and did your course as well, and then I've done hypnotherapy as well, and so that's kind of been my journey of continuous learning. I'd go to events for myself, mini retreats, or I'd go to day courses, just anything to just kind of understand myself and be, you know, around people that were, you know, going to uplift, and me to explore what was I here for, because I was feeling so lost and stuck in my journey, and what, you know, was like, what does that look like, and um, letting go of some of the you know, high expectations that I had on myself as well. Like I'm pretty hard on, can be pretty hard on myself. So
So I look at your CV, right, in terms of the things that you've learned. So, you know, from PT, learning about the body, nutrition, and being able to get a peak performance from this physical temple that we have, to then going to study the mind, right? So you did your NLP, you did hypnosis, all the other retreats that you went to. And of course, that's all the neuroscience, right, in terms of how the mind works. Like, it's not what we think, it's how we think it and how we do things in our head. Like, when something happens and we end up over here, what was the gap that happened in here for us to get there? And if we can understand that and change it, then we can change that result here. So you did that,
yeah,
but you also did the breath work, and I want to know a little bit about that, because you know, with what I've seen you over the last 4 months, even though yes, you are the PT, you're the holistic and wellness coach, and you want to help women and empower them, and especially with the body image, you lead a lot with the breath work too. And I think breath work today, it's really become like this in thing. Like everyone's doing breath work today. Like it's moving to the corporate space, into the corporate world, and it's not just this woo-woo thing where you see people with long hair on a mountain chanting or breathing. So
yeah.
tell us a little bit about that, because that's, I think, quite unique how you do your work, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's so powerful. It's become, you know, a lot more common. And the main one I kind of do with other ones as well. But the main one I really love is the core clearing, because that's a very gentle, non-intrusive, you know, breath work, and that's more of an emotional work, and which is what I love. But even just some of the other breathing, it's just really calming the nervous system down and minimizing stress, because we're so, you know, there's so much stress in the world, and you know, people's pressures financially and all that kind of stuff, and in their jobs and relationships, and it just helps to center, you know, that you've got your meditation and you've got your breath work there. You know, there, people kind of think they, you know, can be similar, and there is similarities in, you know, in some of them, but a lot of the breath work is really going through a process of emotional, you know, flowing the emotions throughout the, you know, through the system, because it's like electricity, you know, in the wires, right? It needs to go through and move through the system. So it's helping people to perform better. It's helping people to minimize their stress, which helps then reaction responses, sleeping. Like a lot of, you know, I've had a lot of clients that have struggled sleeping, and, you know, one lady I've got has got she had a night sleeping disorder, and, you know, was not able to actually release her emotions and feel her emotions, which she'd spent thousands and thousands of dollars going to see psychologists and psychiatrists. And it was actually just her being able to feel her emotions and feel you heal. So that's what I love about it. And you don't need to be doing long sessions. You can be doing small snippets throughout your day. Like I get my clients to, you know, if you go to the bathroom, stop and breathe for a minute, you know, while you're on the toilet, or, you know, when you're you know, stopping to wait for your coffee, like just breathe. You don't have to close your eyes. You know, it's just
Julie Thompson saying, I love this interview. I love your work. She has to jump off because she's got another interview. But we might have to get her on pretty soon too. I might have to interview her, JT.
yeah. Awesome.
So thanks for being here, JT. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank
So
you.
sorry, continue, but I know she's hopping on to another call. Yeah.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it's just really helps to calm the nervous system down. It helps with depression, helps with anxiety, helps with, as I said, sleep. And, you know, because we live up here, so it's about getting and connecting with the body to slow down and just be connected. And that's why it's just so powerful. And allowing people to just stop is, you know, I think the biggest thing with it, you know, and science, there's so much science and studies around, you know, the improvements it's making on mental, physical, and emotional health. You know, I did an interview you know, with a panel in the US, and there was doctors on there that were talking about breath work, dental, and how the breath work is affecting breath when we're not breathing properly, is affecting, you know, our teeth and our jaw, and you know, how it's affecting kids when they're, you know, such nose breathers and snoring and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's you know, there's been some posts and things I've seen that, talking about breath work, and people are like, we know how to breathe, they're just scammers. And it's like, well, it's actually funny because we naturally breathe, but are we breathing properly? And, people get head spins when they actually learn to breathe properly, and can be challenged by it, because shallow breathing, once you're shallow breathing, you then, that's when the panic attacks come up and all those kind of things. So it's actually, learning how to actually flow through our body at a, properly, just helps the cells, helps, immune system, it helps inflammation, it helps with weight loss, it helps with so many things.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's fast forward now, like 10 years, right? So
Yep.
you had this perturbation point, you had this moment of truth that you went on self-discovery, and I suppose you look back now, like once we all get it, we look back at those moments in our life, and when we're in it, we didn't get it, but now we're grateful for what happened to us, because it sent us on this trajectory of where we are now, and discovering our calling and being able to serve others. So tell us, fast forward 10 years, you got your business. Yep. Tell us, who specifically do you serve? Who are your clients right now? Yep. And what's your ideal program? What is it that you put them through, and how can you help them? And how can they get hold of you? Because I'm sure there's lots of people here that want to, we've already got it up there. To all ladies of the Gold Coast, good job, you got something working right. Your VA's doing a great job, it's really up there, awesome. All right. So tell us, Kate.
Yeah, so thank you. I help women to love who they see in the mirror, and thrive in life and business and relationships by connecting with their body and have a healthy mind, body, and emotions. And women that are in business or in a corporate world and have maybe not put their time into themselves, because they've been working on their business and working, giving to everyone else. I find a lot of women are giving to everyone else, and teaching them that it's okay, it's not selfish, it's selfless to actually work on themselves, and we've got to look after this vessel. So I teach women how to look after this vessel, put themselves first, and start, build it into their lifestyle so it is a sustainable change in life. And we work from the inside out, and when you work from the inside out and delete the dieting mindset and the quick fixes, and we go on this journey of self-discovery, come home to who you are, and find your confidence in life and business and your overall health, and be able to see yourself in the mirror for everything and for who you are, and have shift the unwanted weight, if that's that's what a lot of women come to me for. But when we work on the inside, we start projecting externally and shining from the inside out.
I love how you said move from the selfish to the selfless, because it reminds me of a quote, a video I've seen of Joe Dispenza, right? And he talks about, obviously our body's a recollection of the past, right? Yeah. And so part of the journey is to move from the selfish states of the acquiring things, achieving things, the getting all the things outside of us, what we think is going to make us feel okay within, to the more selfless states where we come from a space of love, of gratitude, of acceptance, and allowing our true light to shine. And this is the work that you do, like for women in that corporate role who are getting caught up with, and I'm not going to say selfish, but caught up with the KPIs, the external gratification, and you got to keep up with the Joneses, right? And you got to get your targets, and because all that, if you don't get there, then obviously your job's not necessarily guaranteed. I mean, the only security you have is the belief within yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what does that do to the body then? And then what comes up from past experiences and how does it affect the results? And of course, you help women be able to be present in that moment, understand who they are, and so they can actually deal with that environment in the best possible way, so they can get the best possible results. Absolutely. Without losing their own integrity.
Yeah, definitely.
And not losing their sense of self.
Yeah, absolutely. And stress leads to choices, leads to decisions making, then relationships, when if you're not feeling that great, the intimacy gets affected, don't want to be touched, all those kind of things are all the rippling effect of not feeling great on the inside. So being able to put having women know that they can have it all too. Like you can have the health, feel healthy and confident, as well as have your business and all the other things in, you know, in life, and know it's not selfish to do that. Because the more you are feeling better about yourself and feeling more energy, you're going to perform better at your job. You're going to perform better in, you know, be more present in your relationships because you're feeling healthy and you're feeling stronger mentally and physically. You're sleeping better and you're eating better because then you're feeling your body right. And, you know, learning to some of the things that you sometimes we've just got to do. Same in business, and you know, on our call this morning, it's like things we've got to, you know, you need to do that sometimes we maybe don't want to do, but that has you feeling away and achieving certain things in our life. So it's actually about, okay, what are the non-negotiables that, you know, I have my non-negotiables now. It's, you know, I don't have trouble going and training. I don't have trouble going and doing those things. Was it easy at the beginning? No, it wasn't, because I was unfamiliar. I was uncomfortable. I hurt, all those sort of things. But it's like anything, you've got to, you know, just build it up and stay consistent with it and, you know, get that balance.
And you hit like one of the secrets, right? It's unfamiliar, it's uncomfortable, it hurt. And so you've got to go through that unfamiliar, the uncomfortable, the hurt, in order for you to create a new neurology, a new pathway, a new habit that leads you to different results. And now you got no problem getting up at 5 o'clock doing whatever it is that you do, right?
Absolutely.
And before you start your day, you got to go out and lift, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So look, we got some information there about your breath work, the women's circles. You know, you're in Goldie, you're in the Gold Coast here in
Yep.
Australia, in Queensland. So tell us more a bit about this event, and you know, how do we get people there for you?
Yeah, awesome. Any ladies that are on the Gold Coast, so it's a mini retreat. So pretty much what I talked about with the self-love, coming and spending 3 hours at a really nice venue I've got at Arundel on the Gold Coast. And we're going to come together. We're going to do some breath work. We're going to do some yumminess of, you know, connection with other like-minded women. And I've got an early bird price, which if you want to comment below or send me a DM, I'd love to offer that early bird price.
Awesome.
Up you go. So it's on the 24th of September as well. So, and you did ask me about my programs. So my programs, I do one-on-one coaching for, you know, people that want to actually accelerate their journey and work together to achieve their goals. And then I've also got a group coaching program as well, where with other women, it's all online, and you're educated, you've got your training and your mindset and your breath work and everything, you know, in those packages. So if you are interested, reach out. I'd love to have a chat and see how I can help you perform and have that, you know, balance in life.
Awesome. Well, let's just see. We'll see if anyone's got a question for you. So if anyone's got a question for Kate right now, while we still have her for a couple more minutes before we wrap up, just put your question in there and I'll relay it back to Kate. But I do want to say, you know, thank you, Kate, for giving us your time and having this conversation. It's a coffee conversation without the coffee, right?
Yeah.
All right. But again, you know, the more time I spend with you, the more time I get to know you. There's more things that I find out about you, and then you're a remarkable human being. I know, you know, we've all gone through our journey, gone through stuff, and no one's stuff is more important than someone else's stuff. It's just stuff, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But to be able to deal with the stuff and give it a different meaning to be where you are today, again, it says a lot about you. It says a lot about anyone else who takes that journey. And I know you, like me, and everyone else that's in this field, that's why we exist. We exist so we can help people, you know, whoever it is that you're working with, whether it's women in the corporate world or men or mums or teenagers, whoever it might be, any individual that might be stuck right now feeling like there's no hope or no options. It's just that they're disconnected from their sense of self because of what's been happening outside of them. You know, we're there to be able to help them get clear. I'm supposed to reconnect with parts of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Disconnected from. To reconnect with that part of themselves, to regain that vision and excitement and that clarity for the future, and say, this is where I want to go, this is where I am today, and to help them bridge the gap.
Yes.
Right? Really, that's why we exist as coaches. And I've always said, you know, as a coach, what do? We just help people get from where they are now to where they want to be, and we just have a conversation and help them create an awareness of the decisions that they need to make to go on this journey. Because all of you have to make the decisions like Kate did, like everyone else does. If you don't make the decisions, then you're not going to get to where you want to be. And so maybe the next decision you need to make is get to the Goldie. Get to
exactly. And we've got it all within us, don't we? And I think we, you know, try to look, as you said, outside, and coaching is really about people getting people to find within what they need to, what's right for them and what feels good for them, and trusting in ourselves. That's one thing I wasn't doing, was not trusting in my own abilities or own self or own decisions, due to past decisions I'd made that maybe didn't go, to plan. But yeah, they have really shaped who I am today. So I am grateful, to have those experiences. So.
Awesome.
Thank
Kate,
you.
I want to say thank you. And to everyone else that's joined us today live, thank you so much for being here, guys. If you're going to catch us on replay, say hashtag replay. Still leave us questions, because Kate's going to be monitoring this. She'll be replying to you. You can connect with Kate. And again, when we hear each other's stories, we keep on saying what we think is most personal to us is most general to everyone else. And through our own stories, we heal. And that's the reason why we're coming together, having these conversations. So, Kate, again, thank you so much. We've gone about 37 minutes. So thank you so much for being here.